busting. Many brothers I be sparking and rusting, man, like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifested. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my sacred life.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations. And no worries for anime only fans, I'm just trying something new. This is not going to be a spoiler video, but I am going to be referencing stuff that manga readers are going to know what I'm talking about, and it's going to go over your head. So feel safe to actually watch this video. So with that being said, though, I'm going to go ahead and assume that if you're watching this video, you are current on the Boruto anime. So I want to talk to you guys about the importance of Sarada Uchiha's next power-up, and I want to talk to you about Sarada's training arc, because I think that when you look at stuff that's going on in the anime, and most importantly, when you look at stuff that's going on in the manga that I'm not going to fully discuss here in this video, I think that there is a setup for Sarada Uchiha getting a monster power-up in the future. So in particular, I think that when you look at what Sarada has working for, let's look at what we've actually seen from the character so far. So we know that Sarada's gonna reach the final point of a basic Sharingan, which is the 3 Tomoe Sharingan. We know that that's gonna happen because in the anime, she's already got the 2 Tomoe. If you're caught up with the manga, you already know what those events are. Same if you're keeping up with the Sasuke Shinden videos here on the channel. But the other token of that is the fact that we also see that she's gone through chakra control training with Sakura. We've also seen how she's gone through extensive training with Sasuke to further bring out the abilities of the Sharingan. One thing that I really like from the Sasuke Shinden novel is the fact that Sasuke was doing extensive training with Sarada to help her maximize actually being able to pull out the full extent of having a 3 Tomoe Sharingan. And so the reason why that's so huge is getting that extra mastery of her Sharingan and those abilities added with her chakra control and added with her Chidori training that the anime looks like it's going to start covering. This is all stuff that once we get to the events that take place in the manga, which again, I'm not going to go into spoilers here, but once we get into the events of the actual manga, now that we have certain characters that have been introduced with certain overpowered abilities, I think one way to counter some of those abilities is to have Sarada actually take that chakra control training and actually augment it with her Sharingan to the point where her Sharingan Genjutsu reaches an entirely different level. And I think that once we get to those overpowered hacks abilities, I think Sarada's Genjutsu could be something that actually works, because you have to remember, Sarada, when it comes to her Sharingan, she's already on a different path than all the other Uchiha. All the other Uchiha who have awakened to Sharingan, they did so because of likely a tragic, traumatic experience. With Sarada, that was the exact opposite. Her Sharingan awakened due to love. It's something that Adil and myself talked about over on Anime Balls Deep. When you go into the Naruto Gaiden manga, it was implied Sarada was awakening her Sharingan when she had that fever, when she was making herself sick because she wanted to see her father. And then when the anime got a hold to Naruto Gaiden, that's one of the things we actually saw, was the fact that Sakura confirmed that in that time when Sarada was wanting to see her father and when she had gotten sick because of that, that Sarada awakened her Sharingan during that time. And so when you start looking at the fact that her Sharingan awakened on a different level, it makes sense that when it comes to maximizing the Sharingan Eye of Insight and the Eye of Hypnotism, maximizing the Sharingan's powers, that Sarada's going to have something slightly different. I think that having Sarada take that Genjutsu ability of the Sharingan Eye of Hypnotism and being able to add in that chakra control with Sakura, and the fact that her Sharingan's different, that means that her Genjutsu buff should be on a different level. And I think that just as you saw how characters like Madara and Itachi were able to use Genjutsu that was able to distort reality. With the case of Madara, Madara's Genjutsu was so elaborate and so advanced. Granted, he was hooked up to the Gidomazu statue at the time, but it was so elaborate and so advanced that Madara was able to actually revert his body in that Genjutsu illusion back to his younger form, and he was able to control the space of time during that point and train Obito with years worth of information and beef Obito up from being an Uchiha clan leftover to actually being a full 8-course meal and being so talented that Minato looked over at Master Obito and thought that he was fighting the real Madara Uchiha because of how high of a jump that was. With Itachi's Genjutsu was so advanced that Itachi in 1/100th, a 1/1000th, a 1/1,000,000th of a second, essentially in the span of time that is a pidosecond, Itachi was able to have Izumi Uchiha live out an entire lifetime thinking that she was Itachi's wife, and he convinced her brain to actually shut itself off and actually kill herself as dying from old age during that point. And so the reason why I bring that up is if Sarada's Genjutsu is a byproduct of her having a Sharingan awaken from different reasons, and therefore because it's from the purest emotion of love, that Sarada, her Genjutsu surpasses what Itachi and Madara did. I think that that is the perfect power up for this character. And when you add in the element of chakra control, this potentially means that her Genjutsu is going to be something that's able to last for a longer time period. It also means that there's a potential that it can actually be more hacks and more devastating. I think that that's an actual creative way to actually apply it, because we haven't actually seen chakra control and Genjutsu be two things that are kind of put hand in hand together. It's been implied, in my opinion, when you look at the filler arc with Kurenai and that student that she had that had that enormous Genjutsu that was able to put the entire Konoha village under control. I think that having Sarada with Genjutsu to that ability, potentially later on when she awakens her Mangekyo's Sharingan, I think giving Sarada Genjutsu ability to that extent of what you saw in that filler arc, to where her Genjutsu becomes so elaborate and so real that it actually distorts the actual reality of what's going on. So things that are illusions actually become things that actually happen. That's a pretty busted ability, and yet at the same time, that is something that could work, especially given the fact that we have characters who they themselves are extremely busted. Therefore, any advancements that Sarada makes has to be extremely busted, especially when you look at how Genjutsu could actually be used to counter the abilities of a certain character that's been introduced in the series. So I think that that is something to kind of look at. I know a lot of people want to see Sarada learn more stuff with lightning release and the Chidori, but I really think that having Sarada be a more advanced version of Itachi, hell, a more advanced version of Sasuke. Sasuke, with just using Sharingan Genjutsu, can send messages to people. Using Sharingan Genjutsu, Sasuke's able to read minds, read memories. So I think that having Sarada actually take that step forward is something that could work, and it would make a lot more sense if this was the route it took, because it would allow Sarada to actually being the character that is more of a subtle fighter. Because when you look at Team 7, Mitsuki is that character that's super intelligent when it comes to how he fights, but he has raw destructive power once he goes into Sage Mode. Boruto, we all know what Boruto has inside of him if you read the manga, and if you're an anime only fan, you know that Boruto tends to just charge straight in when it comes to his battle, and you've seen what he's been able to do with the Karma Seal. So having Sarada be that fighter that kind of stands in the background and actually manipulates the events of the fight via Genjutsu, that could make Team 7 extremely balanced. However, I want to know from you guys, how do you guys feel about this suggestion for Sarada's next power-up? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.